You'll be number 5. I think let's take 5 in the first round, President, and then we'll take the next 5 hands in the second round. So we'll take those first 5 hands so that we can have comprehensive responses. Number 1, you can go. You can switch on the mic, your name, surname, media house.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Pauli from Inside Politics. I would just like to ask, I'm going to dive right in, apologies. Is there any preferences in terms of the EFF, in terms of coalition politics? Especially considering the Moonshot Pact, whatever, on the one side, and the ANC's insistence on what they insist against. So is there any preferences that the EFF hold in terms of coalition politics? Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2.
My name is Nomusa from KCPC, Africa. My first question is, what is the first thing EFF is going to do, is going to change as soon as it takes over? My second question is, we had Fanama Simula, police commissioner. We heard him say SAPS doesn't have resources to fight Zamazamas, yet we saw equipments killing there by Marikana. So what is your take in the statement he made? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 3.
Silva Suia from UFM. I just want to ask on coalitions with the ANC. Are they still intact, considering that the ANC Veterans League mentioned that they are not happy with the coalitions? They're not in line with what they're not in line with the resolutions of the party that they took at the conference.
Thank you. Number 4.
Thank you very much. Tobela Mushabi. Look, my first question would be with
name,
thank you very much. It's Lunga from the Citizen. Mushabi, there's this thing of kill the poor, kill the farm, and I think most of our colleagues here are for that. And what I want to find out is, when you went to court, the issue was about kiss the poor, kiss the farmer, or was it about kill the poor, kill the farmer? On the second one, we saw the SG there trying to move away some guys who wanted to come here. Do you know what was the altercation about? And do you feel that you were provoked by the men who wanted to try and come, the white men who wanted to come here? And the third one, there's an issue with the Nasispan. I mean, there in Nezrek, you said it was an ANC a thing that were trying to pick up their own people and their own structures there. So, do you have any proof that the ANC is actually using the Nasispani initiative to try and recruit ANC members, or it's just a political speech that you are making? Thank you very much, Mushabi.
Number 5.
Good afternoon, and a special Happy Women's Month to the National Chair, the DSG, and the TG. My name is Mawande. I work for the Sunday World. I'm sorry, I'll be a bit long-winded. I mean, a lot has happened between the last press briefing and now, so I must apologize in advance in that regard. EFF President, Mr. Sillo Malema, first of all, congratulations. You've achieved at 32 and now 42 what many of us can only dream of, starting your own party. Some of us can only be limited to complaining in newspaper pages. We can't even start our own newspapers. So what you have done is really, really marvelous. Congratulations. Yeah. No, what is your problem? No. I mean, regardless of where you stand, you've really done well for yourself, Mushabi, and well done for that. Now to the questions. My first one is on the resolution that those that public reps that failed to organize transport and funding, because I think people forget that if you organize transport, you must also pay for it to the whole thing. My question really, there's been a lot of confusion, for instance, on the criterion that was followed. Those that are aggrieved argue, for instance, that to have a blanket approach, one like you can't say a person from Zingi and one from where I stay in Western must bring a bus equal to each other, because the one from Western surely, first of all, in terms of the distance, it's shorter. In terms of the economic opportunities from which to mobilize the funding, they are at an advantageous position. The one in Zingi or Kamhlabi Lingana is moving from a position of disadvantage in that regard. So if you could just clarify what was the criterion, was it a blanket approach? And if it was a blanket approach, do you believe that is fair? And then secondly, in the name and shame, in the publishing of names, don't you think that will have a negative effect on the EFF, given the heightened tensions between yourselves and the governing party, which is the ANC? Don't you foresee an ANC poaching those public reps, which it will find as a fertile ground because they are aggrieved about what has happened to them in that regard? And then secondly, maybe the second one to Mr. Nyiko Shibambu, the Deputy President of the EFF. There's been a lot of talk, in particular from the gala dinner, but it doesn't start there, about the state of the relationship between yourself and the President of the EFF. And this talk is not just coming from the sky. It is brought about by events that have happened even before the gala dinner. Perhaps for background context, let me just state some of them. There was a tweet by the President of the EFF about some within our ranks, I will just paraphrase, who are meeting with the enemy, and they need to be vigilant against those ones. And then the Secretary General of the ANC, Mr. Fire Mbalula, went on to address during an event of the ANC Youth League here in Gauteng, fundraising event, where among many things that he said about the EFF was the fact that the EFF is nothing without yourself, Mr. Nyiko Shibambu, in that you are the brains and the actual person behind the policy formulation of the EFF. And then it went on to the tweet by the President of the EFF. And then at his speech at the gala dinner, the President of the EFF was, among other things that he said, first of all, it was praising the relationship. So, in fact, my analysis of the speech, without going to the actual facts of what he said, was I read a person who says, my brother, Floyd, don't listen to the wedge drivers that are coming between us. We started this thing together. We're going somewhere. If you allow this thing to collapse, you yourself are not safe. That is how I read the speech. And then even at the celebrations themselves on Saturday, there was a lot of referencing as a pause. Deputy President, Brother Floyd, Deputy President, as a pause between the speeches. So, and you yourself on the day, talking to my colleague Atim Tongana, who asked this particular question, I was more interested in how you answered it. You said the differences between myself and the CIC of the EFF will not break the EFF. So you acknowledge that there's differences. Can you tell us what are those differences? And also, can you tell us if any of the ANC leaders have come to you and dangled the carrot of whether you must contest the President of the EFF or you must dump the EFF and join the ANC ranks? Maybe it's now. Let me rest it there for now. I'll come back second round. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mawande. Over to you, President.
I need a charger for this thing because it's at 6%. I want to read you an SMS that Panyaza sent to an ANC group. Panyaza al-Sufi sent it to the ANC group, and then it found its way to us. Good evening, leadership. I was going through the guest list and business that contributed to the 10th EFF birthday, and I'm shocked that we are taking things lightly. Notwithstanding the right of individuals and businesses to association, to have this formation getting opportunities from our institution and then donating handsomely to other parties without recognizing the party that gave them an opportunity can be described as freedom of choice, but we are being treated as fools. This must stop. We have to take ourselves serious from now on. This is a battle, and the battle lines are now drawn. So Panyaza says the people who donated to the EFF by buying tables or sitting on tables and whatever, They are going to be punished for that. And then Ramaphosa goes and meets the Commissioner of SARS, and this I get from very reliable people who have never misled me. A meeting took place on the 31st of July after the EFF birthday celebration between CR and SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter. Cyril has tasked the SARS Commissioner to conduct an investigation on all the guests that attended the EFF Gala dinner due to extravagance and flamboyance displayed. The investigation must by SARS is to determine the nature of the business interest of the guests, if their tax affairs are up to date, and if any of the guests that attended are doing business with the state. Kieswetter has appointed General Pistorius to run with this project, which he once concluded before December, in order to act against whoever sponsored or funded the gala dinner and the EFF celebration. Now, this is politicians wanting to use the state to settle political scores. And when we raise some of these issues, you comrades think that we are just hallucinating. The state is going to punish people for having taken a political choice, for having made a political choice. And Panyaza is part of the people who are saying everybody who attended the EFF Gala dinner who gets a tender from our state must no longer get a tender because they take us for fools. So which criteria do we use that only those who give money to the ANC are the ones who must get tenders? This is a matter we should be reporting to the public protector. But we won't do it because she's extremely compromised and she's an ANC mascot. She's an Alexander member of the ANC and she has been part of the ANC Alexandra faction for a very long time. So we're not going to write to ANC branch called public protector and then just humiliate ourselves in that way. So we're going to ensure that we continue to expose these shenanigans until these people are held accountable, because we can't allow the state to be used as if it's a tool of the ANC. Coalitions, we will prefer coalitions with opposition parties, and that's what we've always emphasized. Helen Zille's approach on this matter is to push the EFF to where the EFF doesn't want to go. But our first preference, which we displayed in 2016, and then when we said we are now ready to participate in 2021, we're excluded, and by that being pushed to the ANC side. So we prefer a grand opposition coming together to create, to replace a kleptocratic government of the ANC. And that's the type of coalition we prefer. Comrades, Snugi Zigalala doesn't like the EFF and doesn't like me and Floyd because we removed Snugi as an SABC. What was Snugi? Was it CEO or something? Chair of the board. When we came back from Polokwane, head of news, yes, you are right. Head of news. And then Dali was the CEO. So it didn't take us a month in the Youth League to remove Snugi Zigalala. That one was easy. We removed with ease. And since we removed Snugi Zigalala, Snugi Zigalala has never gotten anything serious until he resurfaced now as a Veterans League, what something. So he has never forgiven us. So you must know every time Snugi Zigalala speaks, he's got that trauma we caused him by removing him as a chair of that, as a head of news. Yes, so we've got that type of a relationship with Snugi Zigalala because he says the EFF's policy is not the same as the ANC, wara wara. we must go with the DA. What is that? What is the common policy between DA and the ANC, which he can allude to? It is personal between us and Snugi Zigalala. But Snugi Zigalala claimed to be a veteran that was in exile. In exile where? Because my sources tell me that he was in Bulgaria. And then he claims he was in Angola. He was never in Angola. Who was Snugi's commander? Who did Snugi train with as a MK soldier? So even when he was assuming that thing of the chairperson of the news at the SABC, he was an ordinary person who never wanted to associate with the ANC even at that time. So unemployment drove him to go and claim that he's a veteran of the ANC. How did Snugi Zigalala come back into South Africa if he's a soldier? Because commanders of Mkhonto Wesizwe, many of them, like Butoni Ngeni and them, entered South Africa the same way they left South Africa. They didn't come back with a plane. Snugi Zigalala came back with a plane. He reminds me of someone who went to an initiation and went back home with a private jet. So there's nothing veteran about Snugi Zigalala. Nothing at all. It's a chance taker who has got no proper political credentials. He was overseas. He was not in exile. He's a chance taker. And we don't regret removing him in less than a month as a head of news. Head of news, that thing that is headed by Mushwesho Munari. It was headed by Snugi Zigalala, who was biased. And then when we came back from Polokwane, the first victim of the Youth League was Snugi Zigalala. That's why his hatred of the EFF, he just sees that Youth League. And that's why you need to understand it. When we take over, the first thing we're going to do is to nationalize the land as the first non-negotiable cardinal pillar. SAPS has got the best men and women who can take on the Zama-Zamas. They must just go and take out the Zama-Zamas under those holes. Any Zama-Zama that tries to shoot SAPS, they must drop them dead. They must not negotiate with them. Anyone who knows the police are coming down, because police are going to announce that we are coming down, and you know that it is the police that are coming down and you still shoot, they must drop them dead. All of them. Including those who are displaying firearms. Anyone who displays a firearm against the state is a declaration of war. It's not charging my guy. And he's going to switch off. Get another twin plug. So there is a resource. Police have got powerful resource. There is a Berete. There is a counter-assault team. There is special forces that can take those people out in less than no time. So Masamula wouldn't know, because Masamula doesn't know what he's doing there. He's just earning a salary. If he knew, he will know that the police have the necessary capacity to attend to those people. There is no song, kill the Boer, kill the farmer. That's a chant. We over-explained it in court. If you have a problem with it, go to the records of the courts. Don't be lazy to read, man, and ask me the same thing all again and again and again. And I won in court. The court said there's nothing wrong singing kill the Boer, kill the farmer. When do we respect the judgments of the court? And when do we disrespect the judgments of the court? When they favor Helen Zille, we must respect them. When they don't favor Helen Zille, we must not respect them. There is a court decision that must be respected. Those who have appealed it, they must go and fight it in court. We won, and we shall sing this song in line with the court decision. The court of South Africa, an independent court, has made a declaration on this matter and is closed. This is sponsored outrage by Helen Zille. You know, black people, there are some black, clever blacks who are told by Helen Zille to get angry. Yo, Helen is angry, now we must be angry also. They wait for a Magogo with a wrinkled Botox face. How do Botox and wrinkles go into? That's a face of a devil. A devil. Botox with a wrinkled face. Pretending that she's angry. If Helen Zille was genuinely opposed to this, I don't even want to talk about that illiterate John Steenhuisen. If Helen was opposed to this for real, why didn't Helen join the case? Why didn't the DA join the case when I was taken to Equality Court? Why didn't the Freedom Front join the case if they are genuine? So I'm not going to over-explain myself, and no wrinkled Botox fake face shall make me over-explain myself. I will sing this song as and when I feel like. It's not my song, it's a struggle song. I saw some McG wannabe, one of these podcast people who failed with a very low followers, for sure his relatives only that are following him. He says, I must educate Elon Musk. What is that? No, the one of Twitter.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. I must educate Elon Musk. Why must I educate Elon Musk? He looks like an illiterate. The only thing that protects him is his white skin. Elon Musk wants to learn about this song. The records are there in court. Let him go and read the judgment. Let him go and listen to my arguments in court. I argued successfully and paralyzed the grandchild of Oppenheimer and said to him, if I were AfriForum, I was going to fire you from this case. When they did an appeal, they fired him. In line with what I said. I said, you are the most stupid lawyer I've ever met. If I was your client, I would have fired you. He was fired. So what a failed a podcast, this unemployed, lack of creative people who go and just take cameras and then do flopped podcasts, imitating McG, faking it. McG is still going to outshine them because of their fraudulent mentality. Copycats. Says I must educate Elon Musk. Refer Elon Musk to YouTube. There is a full clip of the court appearance on that matter, where it was canvassed in a neutral court of law and a judgment was made. This matter is closed. We have no time for nonsense. Racists want to march into our offices. Ne? This is it's not a playground here. It's a revolutionary house. That's why I told John Steenhuisen that you're a small boy. The EFF is not ANC. Let John try those things he has been doing of marching to ANC offices. He must come and try it here. Let one day when he's bored, try that nonsense he has been doing everywhere. Come and try it. We don't care whether even that day you would have rented black people to march with the DA. As long as you are wearing a DA t-shirt to the EFF office that day, in a disrespectful manner, you will know what the EFF is. Let him try it. He must bring that one with a wrinkled Botox face with him when they come here. We'll teach them. Here is not a place where we're scared of a white man here. Here is the only liberated zone in South Africa. Here. No white man comes taking chances here. Those ones who came earlier, they must thank their God. They must try it again. They must thank their God. It's not a playful area here. You can argue your politics wherever you do. Don't come here. We never go to anyone's offices. We never interfere with anyone's programs. But we are not going to be undermined. We've got everything we need to protect this office. Everything. And we'll defend it with our lives. No one can come and take chances here. So, they must be warned. Nancy Spani is an ANC fraudulent campaign that seeks to take ANC campaigners and poster distributors and volunteers to pay them to do an ANC work. Now Panyaza is trying to counter what I'm saying. He brings a picture of a person who's wearing an EFF t-shirt. Only one person out of so many thousands. Of course, it's South Africa. You can't go past 10 people and not find an EFF person. But that is not the target, and he knows it. Nancy Spani, it's a political program that seeks to empower ANC volunteers and make them work for the ANC in the next elections. So that is the story. And you can't claim it otherwise. Don't come and ask me. That's the problem as journalists. You come and ask us instead of doing your own research. Those people, their names are there. Just go and desktop research, Samkelo, and on Facebook. Just on Facebook. Just go and Google those people on Facebook. You're going to find them with ANC t-shirts. Just take those names and just give yourself time. Let me check these names on Facebook. You are going to find those are ANC Youth League, chairperson, secretaries, activists, ANC Women's League, chairperson, secretaries, activists, because ANC chairpersons and secretaries are reserved for corrupt, much bigger positions, not those ones. Those ones are reserved for Sanko, Youth League, Women's League, and things like that. It's not a lie. Panyaza was trying to counter the EFF rally by bringing people to Orlando Stadium with a bribe of jobs. He failed, even with bribing jobs, he failed. People didn't go because they know that program for what it is. It's a fake program by Panyaza Lusuf. They can scream anyhow they want. That is the only thing they are trying to do to save the ANC, and they will be exposed very soon. Public representatives failures, equal basis is not true. Wabona again. You don't do a simple research, which was in the statement. Was this thing of public representatives not in the statement?
It was.
You know, just go read the EFF statement. You don't read the EFF statement. Journalists who don't read is a problem. Big problem. Let's take councillors in Gauteng. They have to give us how many buses? 5? 5. Yes. That's Gauteng. And in Johannesburg, they have to give us 10 because they are closer. The MPLs in Gauteng have to give us how many buses? 15 buses because they are each. And then in the whole of South Africa, in other MPLs, give us 5. So, so 15, but the number is not the same. That's what I'm trying to say. So MPs, then each gives 20 buses. I gave 20 buses from Sishio. Then Floyd has to give 50 buses because it's from Gauteng. So we're balancing the equation. That's how smart we are. Councillors 1 bus. So Gauteng wants 5, Joburg 10, Limpopo councillor 1 bus 1. Now, you have an MP who comes from Malamulele, who doesn't give you, out of 20 buses, doesn't give you a single bus, 1. He's a member of parliament since 2014, right? And then you have a councillor from Malamulele who gives you 1 bus. The MP doesn't give you 1 bus. And then I must accept that. You are so used to people not being held accountable. It's not going to happen in the EFF. They are going to be held accountable, and majority of them are going to be removed. They will be listened to one by one, starting from next week. What is their story? And then from there, the rest are going to be requested to leave our positions. Those are our positions. You are saying, am I not scared they will go to the ANC? Let them go. Let them go. I don't care. Why must I think I've got 10 people when I've got 5? Let me remain with 5 and plan based on 5, not on 10. I don't have this other 5. Whether I lose it to the ANC or not, I never had it. So let me struggle with the people who brought FNB, who shut down the FNB. Those are my soldiers. Those are my forces. Sizofanda onye. Ba bomabina usulwa. Ba uyaga hore ba gaufile ba bangwe. It's not going to happen. Ufedile, if I were them, I will just resign. If they know what is good for them. How many public representatives do you have, DP?
1,200.
1,200. Right? And then 400 and something doesn't get a single bus. And then you say I must count those people that I've got these people. How are they helping the organization? How are they helping the growth of the organization? What value are you bringing? You are told in January to bring a bus. You fail from January to July to bring a bus. I try. If that thing is going to kill EFF, let it kill it then. We are not going to hang around with lazy people. Your stay in the EFF depends on your contribution. We are not on a holiday here. No. Dead woods. We don't want dead woods here. Go and SG, I was going to ask you, go and check these people who have not brought buses. Go and check how many votes where they come from does the EFF receive. Go and check them. We're going to check them. We've got a system here in the EFF where once we put your name in, it takes you straight into your voting districts. It tells us how many votes did the EFF get from where you come from. If we can even expose how many votes they got where they come from. These people that you are saying are going to the ANC. We will not have lost anything. At least we will know that we are 600 and not 1,000. The public representatives who brought their buses here, they never felt that they are being punished. They were the most excited. Cooking for their people before they left. It was a festivity, but also a moment to bond together, to share memories. I said to them, Kiri, hey, one day but Lorko whenever you councillor or useless, you must go, you are the most useless councillor. How about respond out Lorko bona uskabua too much kileka wish FNB when? Kalina major bus. At least one thing, you idea in your life. Just do one thing. So it can be comrades. Floyd. I don't even know what you are asking about. Like, in the past 10 years, there's never been anything that suggests me and Floyd have got fundamental differences. Nothing. We disagree on approach. This one may be this way, that way, and that we can fight and even think of not speaking to each other with Floyd. I didn't know that Floyd did an interview and said our differences. I was going to call him immediately. Which ones are those? I don't have a... You know, there are clowns here in the EFF who think they know us, ne? Who think they were nothing without them. Yeah, who behave in some narcissist way, in a very egoistic way. You will never feel that with Floyd. No. So I don't know, Shem. Hey, you will have to slaughter cows for that fight to happen. It will never happen. That's what the enemy wishes for. He will speak for himself, but from where I'm sitting, I told my son, if I die, you must contact Uncle Floyd so that you guys work together in consultation with your mother on the program of the funeral. My son knows that. So I don't have anybody. Remember, I'm alone. When I was standing there on that thing that took me up there at the in the stadium there, I'm like that. I'm like, I was done. I was alone there. Like if you kill me, it's done. There's no any sibling, no parents, no nothing. So I'm like, for it not to be clumsy politically, you're going to have to consult Uncle Floyd. So you and Mom know that, okay, the EFF interests are well taken care of. Because we can't have a situation where there will be an infiltration. And then Floyd, they are even told not to speak at my funeral. And they are very good at hijacking funerals. So why would I entrust someone with such a responsibility if I've got problems with? So there's nothing, man. Like there's nothing even to justify, none whatsoever. And when I was talking to Floyd, and I said I'm brutal, well, you know, I'm a lighter moment, SG. And then when I read about, I'm like, it's not even allowed to joke or anything. A joke becomes a headline. Like, Floyd has been warned. I'm like, anyway, if it was other clowns, it will get to them. It will never get to Floyd that he's been warned and all of that. Because he knows the language. He knows when things are meant and when things are not meant. So, he has been in the space for a very long time. It's the same thing about kill the Boer, kill the farm. I say in the speech there, for a very long time, calling for peace in Africa. In Nigeria, in Burkina Faso, in Burundi, in Eastern DRC, and call for peace, don't kill each other. That speech which called for peace in Africa today is the most violent speech that is reported about all over the world. A man who I called for peace. That is not being quoted. And then I must be worried and have a nightmare that maybe I said something wrong. I didn't say anything wrong. I know I said everything right. The enemy is just deliberately distorting me. And they will never get to me. They've never done. They will never, not now. Because I now know how they operate. Look at Adrian Basson. He just goes on a rampage to a point where he went to the dustbin to clean articles of 2011. This is what we said about Malema in 2011. You can clean them the way you want, Adrian. I defeated you. FNB Stadium was full to capacity. I could imagine your face, Adrian, pink on the screen. Angry that a man you hated filled up FNB Stadium beyond capacity. You tried to destroy me with those 2011 articles. You failed. Why would you destroy me now? Why would I be destroyed by Adrian Basson now? He left Cape Town. Adrian Basson works in Cape Town. This weekend he was here in the office harassing the staff of the News 24 and saying to them, you can't say everything was successful. Find something. Find something. You are going to look for something against them. Anything that we can use against them. Then they told us, Vuyani tweeted about it. He went back to the staff and said to the staff, who told them? Who told them that I'm here? Who told them? Everything Adrian is doing in that office, we get it toe for toe. He thinks those staff members like him. They are tired of his racism. They too are tired of his racism. They've been arguing with him. Adrian, it was successful. It's enough. Let's just acknowledge it. Why do you want us to write things that didn't happen? And the fighters have been calling for us to call for the banning of News 24 in EFF activities. I don't think we must ban them, shame. We must harass them through success. They must come here and see the cakes. After here, there is music, News 24 music. And then there are drinks after. For all of you, drinks, including News 24, you can drink. You must come here. We are going to invite you here to remind you when you enter that beautiful building that we failed. This is a reminder. We're inviting you we invite you to remind you of how much you failed and how much you are going to fail. Racism will never triumph, not in South Africa. And Adrian Basson is a racist small boy who will never succeed against us. We're not going to ban any News 24. Abatlemo barekire modimu abela diyo manabarna re lebeletse manaba News 24. Re ya la ufalala modimu abela diyo. Thank you very much. Over to you, DP.
No, thank you, President. You know, you're making a reference to the speech that was done by Fikile Mbalula. So he said two things there, and you see he's trying to be a wedge driver. First, he claimed that he is the one who, with Tony Yengen, started with the struggle for economic freedom in our lifetime. I mean, with due respect, Fikile Mbalula doesn't carry any sophistication or depth to conceptualize anything. That is why even the youth leagues which we have left, they always make reference to the generational mission that we left in the Congress movement. He led the ANC youth league for far much longer period than we did. But there's not a single reference to what Fikile Mbalula stands for or ever stood for. So generations far later, like young people who were possibly 10 or even below the age of 10 when we left the ANC League are now making a reference to a rich generational mission which we left there. But also to try to divide an organization, you must be sophisticated. There is no one who is that sophisticated from the ANC who can confuse the EFF. We are a solid organization. I resigned from the ANC purposefully and with clear reason. Why would I want to be associated with the ANC? And I started working with the president, and I knew he's a revolutionary, he's consistent. Actually, the things that people could possibly say now about trying to cause divisions, like there's no basis now. Like there could have been basis when we started the EFF. I remember when we started the EFF, they were saying he's not educated, he's facing corruption charges, all sorts of things. But I said to him that let's go and start this organization. We'll go to the people of South Africa to tell them the truth that you understand their plight, their difficulties. You represent a generational mission. And things will disappear. Let's fight on. There were far much more solid reasons to could have not associated with the president at the formative stages of the EFF than there is now. Like now, the president has gone to school. He has achieved a lot. He has led a successful organization. So, what kind of madness will that be? Where we'll think that there will be differences? There will never be differences in the EFF. Like. There will never be any differences or divisions that will split the organization in terms of what we seek to achieve, because this agenda that we're in pursuit of is not a self-seeking agenda. It's not about us being presidents or ministers. This organization is a weapon in the hands of a generation and of generations to come. Why would you want to destroy an organization for selfish purposes? Because you want to occupy a position for what? Because there is nothing which in the EFF we cannot say, or our voices always find expression, all of us, in terms of what we stand for. What is it which I'm going to do if, let's say, I want to be a president, which we cannot do now? Because we have got all equal platform to contribute in terms of what we seek to achieve. So anyone who had an illusion that there will ever be division in the EFF, they will never be. They are daydreaming. There will never ever be any divisions that will destroy the organization. And wedge drivers have to carry some level of sophistication to divide an organization. There is no one outside of the EFF who is sophisticated enough to divide the EFF. We can divide them ourselves from here. We can tell them what is their agenda and make them fight amongst themselves, but they will never succeed with us because we are far much more stronger than them. We are ideologically and intellectually far much superior than all those clowns in the ANC. And we know that there is no levels of trying to take us different directions that will succeed in terms of what is required. We are a solid organization. We are looking forward to the next decade of the movement, which when we do the 20th anniversary, that will be a solid program in 2033. And we will still be a solid organization that by that time we'll be celebrating our years in government as well. Thank you very much. I think I've covered the key issues.
No, I forgot to speak to the tweet. Even the tweet you're talking about, Floyd knows what I was talking about. So the tweet can't be speaking about Floyd because he knows the details of what was happening. I said, instead of Gerard Pretorius in SARS, I said general, not general. Gerard Pretorius is the one who's given a task to go and investigate everyone who appeared on the list of EFF Galadin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. We'll take the second round. I've seen some hands lingering in the last round. I don't know if Mail and Guardian is still available. It'll be number 1. It'll be number 2. It'll be number 3. You'll be number 3. We've already taken from KCPC, so I think let's give others a chance. You'll be number 3. You'll be number 4. You'll be number 5. Number 1.
Lise Gatandwa from the Mail and Guardian. Mr. Malema, Mawande has pretty much covered me on most of the questions I wanted to ask, but in 2019 at the previous NPA, you said that you made a vow to build a school. Can you update us? It's 4th year now. Can you update us on how far that has gone? Also, in terms of the consequences that you were speaking about with the public reps, the EFF doesn't really have a disciplinary committee. Why is that? Is there, because it seems that when you say the consequences, it's mainly up to you or the War Council. Is it up to you or is it up to the War Council, or does the EFF have a committee which is primarily established to assess these kind of situations? Thank you.
Number 2.
Junior Kumalo from Newsroom Africa. I just wanted to ask a question about what we saw unfolding earlier today outside with the gentleman that came outside and they had to be chased away. Did the EFF expect such a scenario to happen today? Because we saw a lot of security and a lot of them are, I don't want to say heavily armed, but more than usual. When we come here, we've never seen such tense security situation. Did you expect this to happen, or why was the EFF so prepared for such an event? Thank you.
Number 3.
My name is Salailo from Salam Media. I just wanted to quickly ask Mr. Malema, You're very unequivocal on the EFF stance regarding Palestine. I just wanted to find out if the EFF had the power, and if the EFF does come to power in 2024, would degrading our Palestine embassy would degrading the Israel embassy be one of the priorities, and what would inspire this decision?
Number 4.
Sisanda Mboleko from the Sunday Times. I wanted to find out your views on the litigation by an organization called My Vote Counts, which seeks to remove the disclosure limit of the Political Party Funding Act. I know that the EFF is listed as one of the respondents in the court papers. Will the party be responding to that effect? And what is the sentiment regarding this campaign to remove the disclosure limit in terms of donors donating to political parties? Thank you very much.
Number 5.
Thembe Matsile from Tesh Newsletter. Congratulations. It goes without saying the pain caused to chest is sticking longer than starch on rice. CIC, last week the manager of the city of Joburg had a briefing on the explosion. Today he hand in glove with the executive mayor will be giving another in a few minutes. So do you think that the explosion was a result of negligence, or do you think there could be more into this? Thank you.
Thank you, President.
Well, thank you very much. The school is well advanced. Remember, we lost 2 years. Remember, and all of you don't be too harsh on us. Some girl, we lost 2 years of not doing anything. Where are we now, DSG? I mean, TG, with the plans? Yeah, we've submitted the plans. The plans are done. Professionals have been appointed. Our school is there where the farm of the EFF is. So the land has been procured. Once they approve the plans, we are going to do the sort trading, we'll invite you, and then we go. I will never say to you, I will do something, I don't do it. That's not me. I don't work like that. But you must bear in mind, we lost 2 years, and we couldn't do anything about it. And some of the resources which could be channeled to the school were channeled towards COVID-19, helping the destitute, helping the artists, contributing to the COVID-19 Solidarity Fund. So, but we're good to go. Don't worry. Once we start, we're very good friends with Chinese, by the way. So we're going to work during the day and night. We're going to shock you. You'll see something you've never seen. Mail and Guardian, you say consequences, and then you say, and you self-correct because you realize you said something wrong. The EFF doesn't even have a DC, and then you later say, do you have a DC? After you said we don't have a DC. You were wrong. We have a DC. And you know that for a fact. I know you. You have been around for some time now. When Mqitama was expelled from the EFF, was expelled by the DC. And then he took us to court. And then the DC's processes were subjected to scrutiny in court. And they stood the test of time. And last month or so, we removed some councillors from Polokwane. Through the DC, they took us to court. 8 of them. And then they won. There's something called ex parte. They went without us. They got it. And then we went back to court and said, no, but we're here. There's nothing agent. You had no reason to give them that agency. Then the court had us. We won. What did the court want? DC. We produced the records of the DC and said, this is who we are. So, that's why you go around talking about dictatorship, because you deliberately don't want to check how do these people process their matters internally. Now, if there were issues of a dictator, the dictator would have been overruled many times by the court of law. We do everything by the book, by the constitution of the EFF, by the constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Floyd was saying the other day, the ANC must not work with the EFF because EFF is not a law-abiding organization. Which law have we ever broken? The EFF. We comply with all the laws. The problem is that they don't know the law. I said to the funders of the EFF, what is the threshold of donation teaching? 100,000. So I said, don't donate 100,000, donate 95,000, so that we don't have time to be entertaining these things of Oppenheimer wanting us to fill up forms. Hey, why does he say people must donate 95,000? But I never called for the violation of the law. Why do you have a problem when I say people must comply with the law? Here is 120 kilometers speed limit zone. And I say to Floyd, drive 119. Why? Why must? Country woody straight. To comply with the law. But why? Why do you say must comply with the law? That's all I said. 95,000 were done. We don't have to be entertaining Oppenheimer asking us to do what they're saying they're going to do now. And it goes straight into what you said about disclosures. We don't agree. We want the limit increased. What is 100,000? What is 100,000? We want the limit increased to 5 million to 10 million. They want us to disclose our donors so that they can go after them. Panyaza just said it in the SMS. We're thinking we're putting people on the display about their tables so that they are not lost. Kantu are giving them away. They are now under investigation. What do you call that in a democratic South Africa? Now, a person in Pretoria is appointed by SARS, go and look for anything against all those people who went to the EFF dinner. What do you call that? And then on the other side, let them disclose. Let them disclose. Volunteer your own funders so that they can be destroyed. And then it's only the Oppenheimer who has the right to fund DA and Mashaba. No one can go after him. He's law unto himself. It's law unto if Oppenheimer family that is over celebrated by all of you support multi-party democracy, why are they not putting that money in the multi-party democracy fund of the IEC and then the money is given to all parties proportionally? Like Motsepe does. Motsepe allocates money to political parties proportionally. The Oppenheimer family doesn't support multi-party democracy. It supports a particular political party. And then we must be made to keep quiet. Anyone who's going to support the EFF and gets disclosed is going to be heavily punished. But I like what the business people are doing, including the professionals, including the young intelligentsia. They are now themselves openly coming to EFF events, knowing the consequences. One of the young people was sending me a message. He lost a gig because they saw him at the FNB stadium. They cut him out. He was supposed to MC. They said, no, you can't MC. You openly associate with the EFF. That's what we are subjected to. That's our life. That people don't know. But these young people send us those things, they are laughing, they're like, I don't care. They can ban me anyhow they want. They will never take my talent away. I'm not going to be bullied by the ANC to go here, to go there. We never refused an artist to come and perform in the EFF because he performed in the ANC. We've never done that. We've never done that. We've never punished them. We've never seek to remind them that when you performed at the ANC run. But that's what they do to the EFF. When these people go to DA rallies, they are never questioned by the state. Anyone who supports the DA, who gives money to the DA, is never subjected to scrutiny by SARS. But EFF, it's a problem. That's the one that we need to squeeze and squeeze hard. They will never succeed. Oppenheimer is going to see something he has never seen in this country. where there's a formidable political formation without their say. For the first time in the history of politics in South Africa, where Oppenheimers have got no control, have no say over a political party. That's what frustrates them. That's why they can project us internationally as murderers who are going to kill white people in a speech where peace was called upon. But I must thank the black middle class and black people who came out in their defense and said, you can say whatever you want to say. This time around, you are all crazy. This was successful. Your negativity is not going to destroy the good thing that came out of FNB. And many must join and not allow white people to make you angry because they are angry. You are angry because whites are angry. No. Find yourself. Come back. Find your senses, black child. Don't be micromanaged by white supremacists. So, we have not done anything wrong. We have not done anything illegally. We have complied with the law. Let me tell you, we are sitting here one day. The IEC just gives us money. The term before this one, the previous term, they give us the allocation they give to us quarterly. No problem. We're working within our budget. We know this money is already committed. Boom. The IEC gives us how much? 35 million. In the previous, they give us our allocation and then add unexpected 35 million. Then I said, TG, what is this? Don't touch it. It's a trap. Hi. Then we go back to the IEC to ask, what is the story? They say, no. They said what, TG?
They said it's for preparation of the election.
It's a preparation of the election. No one has ever expected that money. They were giving ANC money. For the ANC didn't have money. So they gave ANC, for sure ANC people went to do their thing to unlock that money. Then they were given, but because now they are giving the ANC, they have to give us 35 million. It came very handy, man. Yes. There was FNB, like, what? Yes. So FNB was funded by the ANC through the IEC. So they are looking for wrong things. We were given on top of our allocation extra 35 million unexpected, which we never touched. And I even said to her, let them write down. I don't trust them. And imagine, if we were given 35 million, then you know how much the ANC got. Because the money is given proportionally. So they got not less than 250 million or so. The ANC had problems, went to manipulate the system. It's unheard of that we just get given money by the IEC unsolicited. We always go and fight there. Relax, no bless you, I got 35 million. Bah. So go and tell your boss, Adrian, if he wants money and who financed us, he must go to the IEC. Lata, ya te na chelete IEC. Lo jarna jata ma judge. Ragria yela ya extra. Ragria, that was previous allocation. So the good thing with the EFF anniversary, it coincided with the IEC allocation. Then another allocation came just before the rally. But unfortunately, they didn't bring that extra they brought last time, but it was enough. Then we were sorted. Where does the money come from? We get money, we can't tell you how much. We get money, the IEC can tell you, it's a public money. We get money from the IEC. We get money from Parliament called constituency money. There is money also called parliamentary money. Then our provinces like Gauteng also get parliamentary money, political party funding, the same as Limpopo and many other provinces. All of them got before the anniversary. So there was no nightmare. Even if we had closed these business people, we were sorted because we depend entirely and in the main on the state funding. The EFF regalia was selling like hotcakes. Just there at the FNB, the new designs of jackets were in demand to a point where we sold not less than 10,000 of jacket. Each is how much, TG? 1,800. 1,800. So they were buying those jackets, especially the VIP areas. So there was really no crisis. We didn't have much of a headache. Rainjoya, wabamunati, enemy ya painelwa. The enemy is still being pained till today because it couldn't believe what happened. The wishes of our enemies was that FNB must not be full, so that there can be a debate whether it was full or not. The ANC never opened its ugly mouth like they did during the national shutdown. Especially this illiterate of a Secretary General. He never said anything. The loud mouth, quiet, twaga. So they think banning of Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer song will affect the EFF. That's not our song. They, the ANC and all liberation movements have got a duty to defend their own legacy. If they don't want to defend it, let them ban it. We lose nothing out of that. So, everyone, but Thomas Maholo Babuni on Saturday, or we mean business. The enemy had to swallow a bitter pill, but Adrian refused. He's still refusing. He's permanently running to the toilet because the rally gave him a running stomach. As better Siman Salokwas as Sep. How better EFF? I think I'll Dalam. We don't assault you fiscally. We assault you through success. And there is nothing you can do about it. When you react, people just see your bitterness. And you are jealous. But much more is still coming. This is just the beginning. We are going to govern this country and we are going to govern it the same way we are governing our organization. If you look at how we do our programs, if you look at build-up activities towards the rally, if you look at the building you are in, if you look at the deployments we make in government, that is how we are going to govern you beautifully. Decisive leadership that delivers on its promises and treats journalists with respect and dignity. No one treats you the way we do in all the events. No one. But we are dictators. Why would dictators treat the media the way we treat the media? With respect, with the understanding that these are African children who went to look for food for their own families. When you are angry with the establishment and their bosses, you have no reason to take out your anger on these ones. Look after them. Make sure they are sorted. If there is an issue, take it up with them. And then once you have raised your issue, it's done. We're not enemies. No organization, I say this with authority, at least I've been to both ANC and government institution and the EFF rallies and events. I've never seen an organization that respects and treats journalists with respect like the EFF. Some of you who hate us out of sponsored hate. You get sponsored to hate us, but when you are alone, you know the truth. And the truth is, you are never treated with disrespect. When there's something wrong, you raise it, we attend to it with immediate effect and make sure that your stay is comfortable. We bring all types of resources so that if you want to file, you want to stream live, everything must be there for journalists to do their work. Despite not reporting good about us, we've never taken a decision that they don't report good about us, we must ill-treat them, chase them out. No. There's no problem. It's our relationship we have with the journalists. One day, you will have it in you to thank the EFF for having been a good organization towards journalists. We disagree with a lot of the things you write, but it's never personal. And it will never be personal. Do your job without fear or favor. We do the same. We enjoy when an African child thrives and succeed. That's what we're here for. To inspire confidence in Niger against the French, to inspire confidence in Burkina Faso, to inspire confidence in Mali, to inspire confidence in the whole of African continent and the diaspora, where black people who lost hope look at the EFF and say, African child, it is possible. That is the type of an organization we are, and we seek to be going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. There seems to be an appetite for more questions.
Okay.
So I think we may take the last round. You will be number one. You will be number two.
No, the one of Israel embassy, there won't be an Israeli embassy under the EFF until human rights are respected in Palestine. We are beneficiaries of international solidarity. We will not allow any of the teams, any of our people, to go and participate in sporting activities or festivals or anything of that sort in Israel that is stolen and continues to kill and oppress the people of Palestine. So we're not downsizing. We're going to withdraw our embassy from Israel, and we're going to chase away the Israeli embassy in South Africa. If we can't do that, then our solidarity with the Palestinians is a lip service. We need action, and not only with regard to embassy and cultural activities, including economic activities. We ought to cut ties with Israel. Anything that is produced in Israel should not find its way into South Africa. For how long are we going to fold our arms and allow Israel to kill those people in Palestine? And when we say Israel, we're referring to the state of Israel. We don't mean the Jews. There are a lot of progressive Jewish people. So we must never use the EFF stand on Israel to perpetuate hatred on the Jewish community. We have no problem with the Jewish people at all. We have a problem with the state of Israel, and separate the two. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Let's proceed in that fashion. It was number one. Number two, KCPC will have to decide amongst itself who's going to ask. Number three, those three hands, number one, number four, number five. Thank you. Number one.
Thank you very much. Samkele Masego from the SABC. Mr. Malema, just a question from my colleague Natasha on the IEC's draft regulations on the Electoral Act that gazettes proposes that for a party to be contesting elections next year, a total of 705,000 rands is needed, and for independents, it's going to be 20,000 nationally, 15,000 for a provincial seat, and also for every regional seat, they must provide an additional 20,000 rands just on those IEC regulations heading towards the 2024 general elections. And then lastly, from my side, on the kill the farmer, kill the Boer slogan, looking at South Africa's current contemporary politics, just opposing it to back in the period of 1990 going towards 1994 when it was chanted by the late Peter Mokaba, and where we are currently at, do you think this particular slogan is still relevant for the current political conjuncture that there currently is at, looking at the fact that it may spark a rebellion and violence between the Afrikaner community and also the black community, not forgetting the atrocities that farmers are doing to black people within the farming areas where they are brutally killed by farmers and vice versa. Thank you very much.
Number 2.
Siyabonga Sithole from the Star newspaper. I just want to find out from the EFF and looking into the elections next year, and should the EFF assume power in the upcoming elections, how does it plan to deal with weaponization of institutions such as banks, institutions such as SARS against institutions such as the independent media whose accounts are being closed in 21 days, which will impact on jobs? We are talking in 2 weeks' time. I just want to know on how the EFF will be dealing with such hypocrisy.
Good afternoon. My name is Shannon Merricks from KCBC. All protocol observed. I'm asking for indulgence. My question is a hijack, but I think the staff would need time. Mine, I had to go out because earlier the AWB were here causing commotion at EFF offices. Now I had to go out to see because I see some fighters are outside as well. So I just wanted to know, is fighters ready to defend the building? And just on the media issue, the Star newspaper accounts is being closed, but it's not just the Star newspaper. There's a attack on all media houses, black-owned, independent, not that report positively about EFF, but that reports about EFF. They're under attack, their bank accounts, they don't get community halls, they're not allowed to do certain things and so on. So how does the CIC respond to that? And last but not least, Adrian Basson, as Senef, and my colleagues are here, I'm looking at you, I'm not talking behind your back. Adrian Basson puts out an article, it goes to all media houses, and people in this house, they don't interrogate the article. They just share it, they publish it, whether it's any media house. And I'm concerned that as journalists, if you're independent, how do you copy and paste the same thing? You don't research it, you don't question it, you just copy and paste. And that's really, if you are an independent journalist, I'm talking to my colleagues, interrogate, ask questions. But if you copy and paste, even us, I'm a member of a public, we question your ability to think independently. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3.
Good afternoon once again. It's Mawande from the Sunday World. Mr. Malema, whatever happened to the assassination threat on the SG? I ask this under the context that the alleged plottists of that assassination threat, as I know them, when they threaten, they move ahead with that and they don't miss. But what I've observed, at least, since I go to at least all EFF events, is that there's no tight security around the SG. So my question, put simply, is was there further investigation that revealed that maybe it was a false alarm, or is it something that just died down? What really happened to that one? Thank you very much.
Number 4. It was you.
Mushabi Kwilahap. Look, there have been analysts that are saying, despite your 10th anniversary celebration being a success, it does not necessitate that the party will grow significantly, overthrowing maybe the ANC in government, or even being close to matching the DA when it comes to maybe being the official opposition. I want to just hear from you. Do you think that with what we saw on Saturday, that's going to correlate to more votes of the party, and you are maybe ambitious that the party will be able to take government next year? Thank you very much.
I think that was the last hand, President, and that's the last round. Over to you.
Yeah, even if it was not the last hand, it was going to be the last round. I'm tired, so I must go home. I must go to the village now. The question should be asked to the so-called analyst, what are you basing that on? Because otherwise, they're just talking. Because all of scientific evidence point to the fact that the EFF is passing the DA. The research that is conducted independent from the EFF suggests worse. In the Western Cape, they say the EFF is going to pass the ANC. So that will translate into success. When we did the campaign, 1 million members, and then we lose by-election in some place, the story is, where are those 1 million people? This 1 million thing was a flop. What. So they never find a way of complementing a good thing. It's going to grow, the EFF, and even its electoral support will grow. If you look at the results everywhere, be it Mangaung, the latest, is that even when the EFF loses elections, it's right at the neck of the ANC. It's breathing on the neck of the ANC. There's no significant decline that suggests the EFF is going to lose elections. By-elections are the most unattractive, boring elections, which people don't turn up. But even on that one, the EFF still shows up and demonstrate its capacity of a growing strength. And there is no by-election, by the way, in South Africa where the EFF doesn't contest. Whether it gets 0 or doesn't get 0, we're going to contest it. Because for us, it's an organizational training ground. We're preparing our structures, we're training our structures, we're making sure that they are familiar with how elections are conducted. So to say, the people who were at Orlando Stadium, so how many years ago? 2-3 years ago, have now moved to be at the FNB Stadium, not only on the grandstand. Remember at Orlando, we couldn't even occupy the pitch. We moved to FNB, we occupy the grandstand and the pitch, and we say it doesn't mean they are growing. What else? What more must I say now? What's real? What more must I say? The SG security is tight. He's got his own protectors, and when a threat is raised, that security get reinforced. The same happens to all the officials of the EFF. We try and make it easy and not security too tight in the EFF events because it must be people's event. Leadership must be accessible, interactive, but it doesn't mean we have not taken the security measures to secure not only the leadership and the people who are in attendance. AWB, they are excited, my guy. Don't worry about them. The EFF members are capable of defending their own organization and their own office. They will defend it with everything. For sure, you all know them, how fearless those people are. We're the ones who are always saying to them, hey, wait, man, wait. But otherwise, they are forever ready. Now you went to see them outside. No one called them. You guys reported that there is a situation at the EFF office. Immediately, what? And then they came here. They were not invited by, and none of us called anyone to bring anyone here. Our security is always tight in the office. In most cases, they are in the basement, and that's why you don't get to see them. But when there are such threats, then they have to come out. Why? We try equally to make sure that the office is not intimidating as such and is user-friendly and accessible. But when such people now come with such threats, they are left with no option but to come outside. And then they didn't do a good job. I didn't like what they did. I wanted more than that. You know me, I want to deal with real stuff. I don't want ampur. I want proper arrangements. But next time, the banks are weaponized. We're all victims. Now my banks have been closed by FNB, by ABSA, and my son's bank is being declined from being opened. He's 17 years old. He hasn't done anything to anyone, but he can't get a bank. We're being bullied by banks in South Africa. But it's a matter of time. We need to mobilize South Africans against these banks and fiscal action. We need to. The day will come where action will be announced against these banks that have closed. FNB tells those people who stole Cyril's money in Namibia to close accounts of those people in Namibia, but they don't close Cyril's accounts yet. If there is any person who shouldn't be having a bank account, it's Cyril Ramaphosa. For engaging in illicit monies, for engaging in foreign currency that is not declared. Now they are fighting with independence because they have a problem with Iqbal. Iqbal is not part of Stellenbosch mafia. By extension, now they are going to victimize ordinary workers by closing the independent and Star newspapers' bank accounts. So that's why the need for a commercial state bank is more urgent than ever before. It's extremely urgent. We are being harassed here by the banks. And we are being harassed by Afrikaner males who are owning these banks. But I'm happy that South Africans are slowly, gradually beginning to realize that these banks are bullies, especially ABSA and FNB. They are bullies, and we need to go for them. And that day will come, and when we go for them, they will think they are daydreaming. Because they will never defeat the masses, these banks. When those people who are being investigated by SARS through instructions of Kees Vetter and Ramaphosa and then Panyaza, the immediate thing they are going to do is to close their accounts. They are going to close the accounts of those people. That's what they do. What have I done? Where is the recourse? What happened to listening to the other side? No court has ever found us guilty about any wrongdoing. No, you are a pep, you are not good for our image, close the account. You know, Samkelo, this song, Kill the Boer, if it had any negative connotation and incitement, it should have done it in the 90s. It had all the reasons to do it in the 90s. It still hasn't done it. So why would it do it now? Because I really don't know what you're talking about, saying now the environment is so, let's say, sensitive to a point that this might incite. Now, when it couldn't do it, when de Klerk was killing our people in Buipatong, that's where this song should have incited violence. It still didn't. So, to say to us, don't sing this song because it belongs to the 90s and you are asking me to forget my history, I will not do that. I will not do that. This song is part of my history. It's who I come from. I use this song to remind myself of what we have gone through. And we've emphatically and repeatedly said, the Boers and the farmers do not refer to individuals, but refer to a system of oppression. And I said in court, we used to refer to the police as Boers. When the police entered our township in Sishiu, they were black police. Because anything that represented the system was referred to as the Boers. Even a black person was referred to as a Boer because he belonged to the system in a form of a police person. So, from its inception, it has never been targeted at individuals. It has always been targeted at a system of oppression. And our people understand it for what it is. If we had intentions to kill anyone, we had 100,000 people under our nose. After chanting it, we would have all left that stadium in unison to go and kill the white people. But our people understand it, that it doesn't mean what these people are saying it means. So it's more relevant now, especially where you've got a problem of youth political apathy. The youth need to know what we went through, and they can only know through political education, through political songs, through political literature, that this is a system that is unacceptable, and we must stand up and participate politically to avoid the return of that system. The EFF never supported money from its inception, that for you to register as a political party, you must pay money. We never subscribe to that. If more than anything, we believe you must come with signatures of registered voters. So they should say, bring us 40,000 signatures that are saying they are going to vote for you. Then we know you are not clownish. We can register you as a way of demonstrating your seriousness, because they argued successfully in court that they use the money to determine the seriousness of the party. So they don't want to have a long ballot paper of people who are just clownish and jokey. So they use the money to determine, but if you get a seat, they return your money. If you don't get a seat, you lose the money. But more than money, we think there are other means that can be used. Or there should be two options. Use the money and use the registered voters as an alternative. Because it means politics are available to the highest bidder. Those who don't have money but they have got ideas and have got supporters, they will not be registered. It almost happened to us, by the way, where we had supporters but did not have money. So we would not be registered a political party, yet we're a serious political party. So to use the money as the only barometer used to determine the seriousness is also undemocratic, and we don't think it's a serious thing. I think now that the figures are out, the EFF must repeat its submission to the IEC that money cannot be the only option to determine the seriousness, because we know for a fact that had Mazodi not come through, will not be registered. Yet we had people. So, but in a capitalist society, everything is money, 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 and that's what matters to them. But we think it's defeating the purpose of multi-party democracy, because our people are poor, our people are unemployed, and they have ideas, they've got supporters, yet they don't have money, they don't have big funders. No one believes in them because they are not yet in parliament to finance them. So, SG, it will be the right thing if we just send that submission we once sent, that please, we are still asking you to reconsider the issue of the money. Remember, we are not affected. Abetinas Packet inside, front row. We're in the front row. We have no problem. But still, we must still fight for those who want to get in. It's a good thing, it's the right thing to do. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, all members of the media. Thank you very much for covering the EFF. You have done a very good job. Those who are reporting from the field, I watched from home for a very long time. I even called Samkelo, he knows. We fought about something else. But it was a good coverage. And the media houses tried as well to release very senior journalists to go, experienced journalists, to go and cover the EFF event. We really, really appreciate that. We don't take that for granted. We don't feel entitled. You can decide not to cover. It's your own right. There's nothing we can do about it. But the fact that you used your own resources, the diaspora, what is happening at the FNB, is highly, highly appreciated. And because of that, we have prepared, this is a different kind of a press conference. It will have a lunch served and drinks served and music served. You are allowed to hang around for as long as you want. It's not only ordinary drinks, even other ones that cannot be declared. So we thought, because you'll be here, and we may not have had an opportunity to thank you at the FNB, we must take this opportunity to really appreciate. Continue reporting objectively, and continue being critical of the EFF. That's what keeps us on our toes, and that's what makes us to do the right thing. We seek no favor, but we are really opposed to an agenda that is just against us. Irrespective of the good we do, people still bash us and want to project us on a negative light. But please report about us where we are wrong, report it, so that we can self-correct. It gives us an opportunity to also grow from strength to strength. We really appreciate it. We're not going to make FNB if it was not of you. Your coverage of build-up activities, repeated interviews, giving slots to the leaders of the EFF to come and speak about the FNB Stadium gave rise to what we experienced on Saturday. We are really appreciating and we are thankful for such coverage. Thank you very much, Somlo.
Thank you very much, President. And that concludes the EFF closing press conference for the 10th anniversary. We're released, President. Thank you very much.
Thank you.